LSD and I hated it. So it's been 3 months since I've been off work, so this was around the time when it happened. So this one's called Afterglow. It was the last day of December. Anticipation of a new year in the air. Resolutions were being thought of, old habits crossed off. I had been a month off work, taking the time to reevaluate, reassess, and understand what direction my life was going towards. Something strange had happened to me, something that I could feel but not put a finger on, something uncomfortable. On the last day of December, I turned my phone off. I cancelled all the plans that I was once a part of. On the last day of December, I locked myself in from the noise and celebration of the new year waiting to begin. On the last day of December, I took half a paper of LSD and popped it right in. Now, this wasn't a planned thing, don't get me wrong. I was just going to stay home and read maybe, but this paper, it came to me, found its way to reach me. It was meant to be. I took a bottle of water and stationed myself in the balcony, overlooking flickering lights, occasional cars and groups of people celebrating. The LSD started to kick in. And I just couldn't stop laughing. The lights were dancing before my eyes. The colors had started to come alive. The neurotransmission was on and the serotonin was releasing. The space around me expanded and contracted rigorously at first, then slowly. The visual distortions had begun, and now I started to panic. But this was it. The trip was going to last at least 5 hours. I had no escape. I was stuck, and now I had to face all my demons. Every piece of furniture and painting around me came to life. They were communicating, and they were all saying the same thing. Embrace it, don't fight. Embrace it, don't fight. My 2 months of meditation practice finally came to use as I started to breathe slow and allow the experience to guide me. There were moments of great understanding of how the universe works and what it is, of life and its purpose, and in a flash it would all be gone, disappear, forgotten. I stayed put in one position and decided to see the trip through, when all of a sudden I had an urge to walk up to the mirror and stand in front of it. Now, you don't do this. This is dangerous. You don't do this while on an acid trip. The mirror can reveal the deepest fears and put you up against it, but I didn't know. I didn't know I was being led. I didn't know I was just in the flow. I looked at myself closely. Every pore of my skin, every pimple, every scar magnified. My face was melting, gnarling, and knotting. At one moment, I was so beautiful, and the next so ugly. I took off my clothes, one by one, examining my body from every angle. I saw my arm and the scar on it, the fall marks at the head of my knees, the cut marks on my wrist, my naked body. I broke down in tears from the grief of what I had done to it. Through the years, exploiting it with chemicals, harmful substances, self-hate, violence, rejection, while every single cell in my body worked together to keep me alive, all I'd been doing was waging a war against it. I looked up at myself again. What I had been mirroring, I started to become aware for the very first time how my inner world had been reflecting outside of me. I noticed the subtle details of my body, the mechanics, the movement of my hands and breath, my facial expressions, the sound of silence, and the beauty of it all. I looked around me and realized how every part of the universe is crafted so perfectly, how everything fits in. In a split of a second, everything made sense. I got it. I got the plot. I got the story, the divine comedy, and I laughed. But this time, with a renewed sense of joy, with a knowing that in a few minutes I will forget all of this. With a tear in my eye, a smile on my face, and a heart palpitating with the suchness of this experience, I fell asleep. When I woke up the next day, the world was beautiful and the new year had ringed in. Everything as it was meant to be. That New Year's Eve, on the last day of December, as the world brought in 2019 with celebration and show, locked in a flat somewhere, isolated from the world, tripping on LSD, I died a little. The doors of perception had been opened before me. And since then, I have never been the same. I have resurrected from the death of my own ego, and you could say since then I have been living in this afterglow.